listening to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro, the place to learn about new technology and technological advances before they become mainstream. This podcast is sponsored by Ingram Micro's Imagine Next. It's not about the destination. It's about going someplace you never thought possible. Go to imaginenext.ingrammicro.com to find out more. Let's get into it.
Welcome to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro. I'm your host, Keri Roberts, and my guest today is Charles Thomas, the HP Compute Connect Partner, Business Development Manager at HP. Welcome, Charles. Thanks for being here today.
Hey, Keri. Thanks for having me.
So we're kind of talking about something a little different today. And it's the idea that everybody, of course, is using computers and phones, not only over the years, but especially the last few months, even more during the pandemic. And we all know that too much time looking at a screen can hurt our eyes. It can give us headaches. It can make it harder to fall asleep at night.
Right.
What is actually happening when we're looking at these screens all day and night? And what are some options for blue blocking displays or softwares?
Well, actually, most people, when they're looking at a display or screen, they're going to notice they blink less. Or at least they're going to notice their eyes getting drier, right? Or maybe even twitching towards the end of the day. And that truly is coming from the fact that we keep our attention so well when we're looking at a display. I like to look back at my days in high school and how I would prefer a teacher bring in a video to watch rather than just sit and listen to him or her talk. But what we find is that, the science behind that, anyways, is that blue light is coming from these displays, and they boost your attention. They almost motivate your mood to a better feel and relaxation. But blue light, as far as we know, is not damaging, right? Not permanent anyways, but people have been experiencing headaches and as you called it, eye strain. We've even seen people with blurry vision or double vision, and just after a day's worth of staring at their screen. And so at HP, we're not ignoring this and just putting it to the wayside. A big way to help is by turning on your low blue light filter. It's a setting you'll find on your phone even. In fact, your phone will call it a night shift or a night light, because a lot of people who use it towards their bedtime, and they find it hard to sleep after they've been looking at their phone. What happens is this night light or night shift turns on this yellowish hue. What's actually happening is the blue light is being reduced or eliminated from the phone. And when you use that, you find yourself falling asleep better at night. With HP's commercial monitors, we have the same setting. We just call it the low blue light setting. It also turns to this yellowish hue, and it's a very common feature for any screen from any brand. But coming up soon in November, HP actually has invented a hardware low blue light that when it's on, and it's always on, you don't even notice it's on, because it doesn't make the screen go to that yellowish hue. In fact, your blues still look like blues, but we've removed that high spectral light peak that causes lack of sleep, that causes eye strain, that causes those headaches. We've removed it and moved it out of the way into a safer, bluer area. So now when you're looking at your screen, it still looks like it has the blue colors instead of turning green, but it's always on. And it'll be coming on all of our new E series and all of our new Z series of displays here this winter.
That is really exciting. And it's good to hear that there are ways that we can kind of change this, that there are other options to still create some sort of focus and great visibility on the computer, but in a way, like you said, that's a little bit more healthy for our eyes. Another thing that's become more popular recently too are touch displays. What are some of the trends you've been seeing in this area?
Well, about 8 years ago, and I like this story because for me at least it's funny, and hopefully everybody out there's had some sort of experience where I had a new big screen TV, and it was on a TV stand a little bit low, and I turned on a streaming service, and my son, who was a toddler, climbed up and immediately started putting his hand on the screen and trying to swipe the screen over, which I had to laugh because obviously it's not a touch screen, but he was so used to touch screen devices that he knew that if he were to touch something and swipe it, he could move it around to something he wanted. That's not uncommon with how adults are too. As we get used to using the touchscreen technology that we're finding on a lot of our consumer devices, we're seeing it now in our commercial devices too, like our laptops, our Dragonflies, HP's X360s and X2s. Even standard laptops are coming with touchscreens now. And so what do? You get a much bigger monitor, and people are asking us, hey, we want a 24-inch display that has touch on it. And so that's exactly what we're giving them.
I am so excited. There's a lot of great things that are out and coming out that I think maybe people aren't aware of. I know I wasn't, and I love that you're bringing this to light here. HP offers a variety of different displays, and you talked about a couple of them that you have already. Can you share with us what some others are and what they're specifically great for?
Oh boy, where do I start? Because there's a lot. Here, we'll talk about the ones that really stand out the most. For example, we have a 24-inch display with a built-in privacy filter. Now, when I say privacy filter, you might think permanent or taped on to the display. In both cases, no. The actual privacy filter is built into the panels of the display, so it's something you can't take off, but you can turn it off. It's actually designed with HP's SureView technology. With a push of a button, it enables the privacy screen and it sets it up. And then as soon as you're done or don't want it anymore, you just push that button one more time and it immediately turns it off. We call it our E243P. 24 being 24-inch and a P as in privacy, right? So no more taping up those expensive sheets of plastic. And then if you want to share it, you don't have to put a line of people right behind you to see what you're working with. And even then, it's not great. So we love the fact that we can turn that off. Another one that is our new 43-inch wide curved display. It is our S430C, 430 being the 43-inch in the zero generation. Anyways, what's really cool about that, besides being ginormous, is that you can actually have two separate computers connected to the display at the same time. When you do that, though, you only need one keyboard and one mouse. So you can actually go between both screens on both PCs and still operate like normal, like you would typically. I actually have one right now. I'm using it right now. And I have my laptop set up for work. And I have my personal desktop mini that I use for home use on it as well. So I can actually, when doing multitasking anyways, I can go between my work and my home life for things that I need to be doing at the same time. Hopefully my boss doesn't mind.
Now, I'm curious, can these displays be used for any type of computer? And then how does somebody know which one is best for them? Do you have any advice on how to choose the one that's right for your needs?
Let me answer the question about the type of computer. Displays are very simple. They actually don't need drivers to operate on PCs. And so as long as you have the right connection from your PC to your display, it's going to work, especially with Windows 10. It's all it is plug and play with HP displays. But there's connectors, right? So you got to look at your computer. Do I have a display port? Do I have an HDMI? Do I have a VGA? What else do I have? And then just make sure that display has the same connecting type. Our E-series, for example, have the most popular. They have all three: the display port, the HDMI, and the VGA, which about 99% of PCs out there use at least one, if not two, of those connecting types, right? But when choosing which one you should choose, that's a really good question too, because what are you used to having? Currently, the most popular size that people go to is our 24-inch range. So if you've got a 22 or 20-inch monitor, I highly suggest you go at least to 24, go bigger, because you will be happy that you did. The other side is, what kind of programs do you use? Some programs you might be using are just standard Office or internet browsing or so on and so forth. So you don't need anything super special, but maybe you're working with a special healthcare or financial application that requires a wider screen, something more of like a true 24-inch with a 16 by 10 widescreen ratio. Then you want to start looking at those aspects too, because you don't want to be working with a program that you can't see off screen. You have to keep moving it back and forth, right? But ultimately, just go bigger. You'll be happier you did, and choose a resolution that also fits your eye style better too. Right now, full high definition is a very popular, very common size. By the way, like 8 years ago, it wasn't. You might be used to it now, but if you hadn't noticed, in 8 years, it's gotten better. Now we're seeing more and more people going to our quad high definition, which is 2K, and also, of course, 4K is also really popular. Particularly with people who have 4K televisions, they're suddenly realizing they can have 4K computer monitors, and they get giggy about it. They love it.
No, I think that's a good point. I just recently got a computer. The last one I had was 8 years ago. And you notice the difference. At first you're like,
Yeah.
whoa, okay, your eyes have to get used to it. And it's just a very different feature in how things are changing so quickly. So I think that's a really good point. I want to shift a little bit because there's another thing that HP does really well. HP has been doing its part in a huge way when it comes to sustainability over the years. And your company has this great video, and it talks about choosing doing what's right over what's easy, because easy doesn't cut it. And for our listeners, we're going to have you just listen to that audio. It's about 2 minutes. It's so well done. So I'm going to have you listen to it right now.
Easy doesn't do it. Easy doesn't solve our most pressing problems or push us forward. And easy isn't going to get us on the other side of the global climate crisis. Because choosing easy over right and saying yes to what's comfortable or convenient is what got us here in the first place. If history has taught us anything, it's that making claims is one thing, making change is another. Which is why, for over 80 years, HP has continued to put in the work and deliver on promises, no matter how ambitious or bold, no matter how hard. Since our earliest days in a garage, making change has made us who we are. Like when we built a groundbreaking recycling supply chain that has already kept over 60 million plastic bottles out of the ocean. Or when we launched our Sustainable Forest Collaborative to help protect, restore, and manage hundreds of thousands of acres of forest around the world. Like when we switched to 100% renewable energy supply in the US as of 2018. Or when we created the world's most sustainable PC portfolio. These are just a few of the reasons we were named America's Most Responsible Company of 2020 by Newsweek. And that was just the beginning. Because right now, our planet depends on all of us to make real, lasting change. Empty claims and easy solutions created the climate crisis. Doing what's hard, what's responsible, what's right is how we'll solve it.
I just love that video. And HP has done things like reusing plastic to make new HP products. They've created closed loop recycling strategies and so much more. I'm curious, why was it important for HP to take a stand in sustainability and keeping our earth clean and safe? And can you share more of what HP is doing to help with this?
Oh, again, where do I start? Whether or not you believe climate change is a result of human-caused pollution, we're not getting political here, but you can't argue with how much garbage is finding its way into our oceans, into our freshwater ways. And when I say ours, I mean the entire world, all humankind, not just the United States. Because HP is actually a global brand, if you forget. We're sold everywhere here on the planet Earth, in every country that allows us to. And so because we're such a large brand, we can actually make a difference in how much garbage we produce, how much waste we produce, and how we can use more recycling means and even reduce water usage for our company. And at the same time, and this is one thing that I personally love, is the fact that we can do it without raising our prices on doing it. Sometimes, we look for the healthier or the more environmental choice, and we realize we're spending more to do it. And for HP, we're like, no, we don't want to make that, something standard. We don't want to give you the less expensive option while, also offering a more expensive, safer option there. So as of May, I believe it was May 2020, right? I was looking up the date just to make sure we had news sources of information. We have sourced more than 1.7 million pounds of plastic bottles, which is equal to 60 million bottles just to use in our HP ink cartridges, our docking monitors, our Elite notebooks, and our Chromebooks. And all of these plastics, by the way, were ocean bound, meaning they were on their way to the ocean from lack of cleaning facilities and lack of control over that garbage. And they take it and they put it and recycle it, and then we purchase it from them and use that in our products to reduce how much garbage is actually getting into the ocean just from that one section of factory alone. Our new E-Series, in fact, are coming out in November. These will be manufactured with 85% post-consumer plastics. That's 85%. That's from like 0% to 85%. It's such a huge jump. And it wasn't easy, but our team, our engineers, our business units, they all got together and they found the way to do it, and they worked with our manufacturers to do it too. Because this isn't something that our manufacturing is offering to us. This is something we're taking back to our factories and saying, this is how we're going to implement our new products. On top of that, the packaging, the boxes that our displays come in, they're not small boxes. These are some hefty boxes. We used to use styrofoam and other types of plastic foam to help protect the screens as they were being transported. Well, now we've invented and developed a new boxing way to put them into the package using only paper and cardboard to protect those displays. So now when you have all these empty boxes, and and some folks are buying 100, 200, even thousands of displays, all of a sudden you have these thousands of boxes. Those are now all recyclable 100%. And it's not hard to find recycling facilities to take them because it's paper and cardboard. In fact, you can toss it in right now with your standard recycling bin for your local pickup, and they'll take it and recycle it for you. So maybe not easy if you have 1,000 of them. You probably want someone else who can handle that much that many boxes in cardboard. But ultimately, it's a way to make it easier, especially here in the United States, to recycle our garbage. Water is also a big concern for HP. Last year, we exceeded our previous goal of reducing that water consumption in our operations by 15%. That goal was actually to be done by 2025, so we reached it 6 years earlier than we intended. So now our company's put up a new goal, global wide, that we're going to reduce our water consumption by 35% now. Instead of 15, it's going to be 35% by the year 2025. And that's a huge deal, because it's not just any water, it's the actual potable water, that drinkable, kitchen-ready water that we're talking about. And this goes even greener. Our trees, we've actually partnered with Arbor Day Foundation and had about 55,000 trees planted to represent every single employee that works for HP Inc. These trees were planted in all over, like California, Texas, Ireland, Brazil, and even Indonesia. But if you don't think that's a big enough number, we've actually pledged to plant 1 million trees by the end of this year with Arbor Day Foundation. And this is to help restore critical ecosystems. This is not just, planting some trees in our backyard. This is going to where wildfire devastation has been in California, and where massive trees have been cut down for production or for commercial use in Brazil. These are all going to those places to restore those ecosystems. So it's more than just a tree. They're actual ecosystems we're trying to help build back as a company, because we have done so much, but at the same time, how much more can we do to make this company more sustainable? And that's just a start. This is just a start.
Yeah. And it's, it's exactly like what you all said in the video that people listen to. It's choosing to do what's right over what's easy, because easy doesn't cut it. And I congratulate HP and all of you on the team for doing this, not just talking about it, but doing it and continuing to push that and really make this a priority. For those that are listening, what are some ways that consumers can get involved in HP's initiatives to help the environment?
First part, you support our efforts when you purchase our products and use them, right? It's honestly, how could we invest in these sustainable programs and products? How can we invest with Arbor Day and, other NGOs we work with without you choosing our products? It's just flat out, that's how we're able to do it. But second, honestly, recycle your printer cartridges, recycle your HP electronics. At hp.com, we have a useful site that you can locate to search where you want to recycle our products. For example, we have a program in the United States that if you have more than 76 toner cartridges or 1,000 ink cartridges, because ink cartridges are smaller, you can actually request a free pickup of those used cartridges to be recycled properly and efficiently be put back into creating new HP ink cartridges. That's just a start. There's lots of ways there you'll see on hp.com.
And if a tech company is listening, how would you suggest that they do their part and help the environment? If they're not sure how they can do it on their own, maybe do you have any suggestions or programs that they can join that HP is already doing?
Well, what you can do, looking at HP as a global brand, yeah, we have a lot of money to invest in, programs and in engineering feats to create new ways to recycle or reduce our waste, but not everybody's global, right? And so what the best idea is to partner with somebody who's already doing it. Even HP, we've partnered with the World Wildlife Fund and the Arbor Day Foundation, several other NGOs. So look for something local, look for something even within your own community, within your own state, here in the United States, that you can invest in to take your dollars to make something else bigger in their lives, because they're already doing it. You might as well let them do it and do it better.
Now, when you think of technology as a whole, either in comparison to what we're talking about today or in general, where do you see it going within the next year?
That's a tough question. Well, personally, I see gaming. I see gaming going really big and getting bigger. I hope someday some of my kids make it into the college esports arena, because they're doing so well now in elementary school. But I also see bigger displays for people, larger displays to work on. As we're going with lighter and smaller devices, we're realizing that it's harder to work. And when I went from my 19-inch monitor 8 years ago to my 43-inch monitor that I have now, it's, believe me, work is so much better. So those are the two things that I think are going to happen with technology real soon.
Now, if people have questions about anything we talked about, whether it's the displays we talked about, or they want to learn more about all the great things that you're doing for the environment, where is the best place that they can learn more?
A lot of this information that's public, right? Anyone can see it, is actually on HP's special press release site. That's press.hp.com. You can open up the tab there and select multiple subjects. One of those subjects is sustainability. And at the bottom of each of those articles, we have media representatives that you can contact or reach out to for more specific questions, or just anything outside this conversation. You can also email my friend Jeannie at Ingram Micro. Her contact information will be available on this site.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge today, Charles. This is definitely a special episode talking about not just technology, but also how the tech industry can help our environment, which is a huge thing I think we all need to be a part of. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
If you like this episode or have a question, join the discussion on Twitter at Ingram TechSol with the hashtag B2B Tech Talk. Thank you for tuning in and subscribing to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro.
You've been listening to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro, hosted by Keri Roberts. This episode was sponsored by Ingram Micro's Imagine Next. B2B Tech Talk is a joint production with Sweetfish Media and Ingram Micro. Ingram Micro production handled by Laura Burton and Christine Fan. To not miss an episode, subscribe today on your favorite podcast platform.